Hello everyone, and welcome to a little bit of a different tutorial. This time it's not going to be anything that is destruction. I wanted to make my version of the donut. I know Blender Guru have made his third or fourth version of it. And this is, this is my version of it. It's still a donut, so I guess it's not that different, but this is what we are going to create today. So let's get started with it. Starting off, we're gonna go with the geometry node in the object mode. I'm gonna try to keep this as simple as possible, trying to explain things. Geometry is just a empty placeholder where we can put whatever we want in. Not everything, but a lot of things. And a torus is, of course, a good start for a donut. I also want to create a null. So what a null is, it's nothing, but we can put shit in it. In our case, it's going to be a controller. So if we click on this cogwheel, we can go to edit the parameter interface. I'm going to make these guys invisible because we don't need to see them. And this is where we are going to be able to control some of the, we can dial in some things. I might not make this complete, but then maybe you can get the idea. So let's start with a resolution slider. And we can specify a range, say from 1 to 20. Apply. I know I also want to have a thickness. So thick. Again, range from 0 to 1, let's say. Let's start with the resolution. If we right click, copy parameter, we can go in and we can paste this in. So let's do times in the rows and then right click paste relative reference. And I'm just going to copy this and do the same thing here. And we should now have a resolution slider. So let's keep that at, I don't know, 16. Why not go 20 when we have the chance? I also want to have the thickness. Copy this and paste this in here in the radius. And now we can make it thicker or skinnier. Let's be good with that. Let's just lower the resolution a little bit. That's first step done. Next step would be to rough it up. There's multiple ways. My most hated node is mountain, so we're going to use that. And now we can play around with the shape of it. I'm just going to keep it simple. If you want to do, like, you want to spend some time with this, you can do so. I'm not. I'm just going to do something like this. And oh, the offset. So we can do another one of these. Let's do integer and then say base seed, range 0 to whatever, apply. Again, copy this, paste in the offset, relative reference. As you can see, I have 1 there or 0. If I do whatever there, it reflects in here. So now we can like make some changes if we want to. I'm thinking I'll maybe make this into an HDA later in another video. This way We can create tons of variations easily. But for now, I think this is fine. I also want to flatten the bottom because I assume they are a little bit flat because they have, you know, when they're baking and shit like that, they aren't floating in the air. So an easy way to do that is with the flatten. But to use the flatten easy, much more easier, we can do a center node first. And I use this all the time. And say in Y, we're going to go minimum or minus minimum. Now it's standing flat on the ground. And it's just much easier to now do a flatten because it's going to be based on 0, I think. Let's see. Yeah, if we had if you had it in the center, it would be a lot harder to control. So by doing it so, we can now flatten this and then we can smooth it out. Something like that. I also want to, once we're done with this now, I want to take it back into center again because I want to use the Y0. So it's just a lot easier. So that's the base. Let's create a null. You don't have to, but say out base. This is like, now it's done. And we need to go on doing the glaze, which is a little bit harder, but I think we can manage. Object merge, I'm going to use that one. That's so I don't have to have wires everywhere. So we can just drag in the null. And if I click on this now, on the, whatever this is called, visibility, display render, we now see it. And we can create our new branch. And to create the glaze, I'm sure there's many ways of doing it. We're going to use points and we're going to use VDBs. So let's start off with do the scattering. Set that to 10,000 maybe. I also want to have use colors. So using a noise so that we can remove like black parts, for example, just to keep the edge uneven instead of just straight. So what I'm going to do is we can use VOP, point VOP, because we are doing this on points. And we can use a turbulent noise, pipe the position into the position and the noise into color. And now it's, you know, all about just finding something that works, which I don't know, but let's say that is doable. What we now want to do is, how shall we think about this? We want to remove anything from a certain point. So let's say the 0y. We can start by doing that. Yeah. So we're going to go with an if, curly brackets, and then we're going to say, you know, if something becomes true, then do something that is inside of these brackets. So let's just start by taking the P, Y. If it's lower than, say, 0, we want to call a function. So that would be, for example, remove point. And normally on most functions, the first argument is going to be the input points here, depending on where shit is coming in. So starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. In this case, 0. And then we're just going to say, hey, pt num, that's a known attribute. Anything that is below there is just going to remove it. As you can see right now, it's being gone. And also like this, what this does, the wrangler, it's looping through all of our points because we have points on here. And then it's just going to check the position of each point. And if you are lower than 0, then die or be gone. We can also create a channel. Let's just call this Y. You can call it anything. And then you can click on this little icon here. And just to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to say we can drag from -1 to 1. And now we can move this. So let's say, let's go like so, for example. So it's a little bit further down. And what we want to do now we want to remove black points, right? So let's create a new wrangle. And we want to, again, just do an if. I can write, no, I can't. Like so. And inside of here, we want to say, check the colors on each point. And we just want to pick a channel because CD is RGB. So that's a vector. So I want to say, R, for example, or X, Y, or C. Or I think 0, 1, 2 works as well. If you are, less than 0.1, which is basically black, I want you to be gone. But I also want to say, and again, P, big letter P, Y, smaller than 1. And then we do a remove point again. If I can spell, remove point. Can't write without looking. 0 and then pt num, point number. And you can see, hopefully, that they were removed. See? Let's see. Let's go even further. No, we can't go further. We can add a color. Let's see. Say red. I'm just gonna waste your time here. We have that. And now they aren't gone. Now they are gone. Okay. And I don't like them this big. I'm pressing D, by the way, to get this window up. So you have to have the cursor over here in the viewport. So now we have that. We have some unevenness. It might not look great, but we'll see. Now VDB from particles. So particles or points. Same thing, really. I think in Houdini, it's just that particle comes with some extra attributes like life and shit. But it's essentially, I believe they are pretty much the same. One thing though, you can see it's really big because I believe by default they are using the p scale attribute at 1. So let's just say here at p scale equal 0.15 worked last time I did it. So now they are smaller. And by the way, this is a float. So, with the decimal, if you would want to have an integer, you would say I before the at symbol, or V for vector, etc. Let's lower the resolution, which basically means it's going to be nicer. It's going to look nicer. And it's really thick still. So we're going to do a VDB reshape SDF and erode to remove. And we're just going to Try to make it decent, and maybe we want to up the resolution a little bit more. Okay. Let's say like that. And let's, for the heck of it, I believe a smooth SDF. Up this a little bit. Maybe it's not necessary, but we're going to do it anyways. Now we need to do the more, not complicated, but we're going to do the drips because it looks kind of boring. Just have it like this. So before we even start with all the VDB stuff, we can just add a merge. This is why I love Houdini, where it's all procedural and you can make changes, you know, further up without any issues. So how should we create the drips? What I did was I took a size, first of all, just to match the size of this. And then I added in a sphere. I need to remember zooming in so that you can see. But by doing so, it's going to keep the size correctly. And maybe we can add a transform in between here and just make it a little bit bigger, like so. And in the sphere, let's go for a columns. In the row, I'm just gonna up that, and then you can play around with this, but I'm gonna keep it at 8, let's say. Now, we wanna basically make these, let's go to, yeah, let's see. Want to do that. You can see here, so they are a different length, and that's kind of what we want to figure out how to do. And I'm going to try to not look at what I did before, and we'll see how that goes. There's a for each, which is super handy. In this case, we're going to go with a for each primitive. And if I pipe this in here to make sure it works, if I can stop clicking on everything, I can click on the single pass, and you can see it definitely works. So this is like for each iteration in the loop, it's going to do 0, then it's going to do 1, 2, 3, until it's no longer anything else left to do. Well, let's see. What do we need to do here? I know we want to get the iteration number, the one that I played around with here. I want to have that number and use that to create some different length. So what I think I did was adding an add, which I don't think you actually need, but I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to say, just delete geometry. We have the points. That's what we want to have. And now, what do we need to do? So I believe a wrangle is in order. And to use the iteration number, one way to do it, I'm just going to do it like this. Pipe it in here or into any of these. And let's just get the index. And I'm going to do it in an attribute first, just so we can see it in the spreadsheet here. And if you don't have the spreadsheet, just click on the plus sign, and there in the inspectors, there's a geometry spreadsheet. This should always be open, I think. But let's just see, because I have some issues with this. And that is, we want to have the index, right? So I at index and say detail, which is a function, and say number 3, because we placed it right here. That's number 3. Start with 0 always, in programming. There are some languages, I believe, that starts with 1, but most of them don't. And we're going to say, okay, what do we want to get? We want to get the iteration, and then 0 for just, I think this is like normally like the point number in a lot of like, but there's just one thing to get here, so 0. And if we look at this, let's see. Yeah, so if we go outside of it, we can see the index. Hopefully you can see it. I don't know, maybe I'm in the way, but you can see it here. So it goes from 0 to 7, which is fine. That's not really what I wanted to show. It's the random number that I want to have. So let's say we don't have to say f at if it's gonna assume it's a float. So let's just say random value. I can't spell. Random value. And we're gonna use the rand function. There's a random function as well. I don't know if that's exactly the same. So if we're using at index and we go here, if it works now, I get pissed. It actually works. That's strange. Okay, because I had issues where I needed to make it into a float. Or maybe that was the fit. Okay, let's see. Fit 0, 1, because we're gonna have to use that anyways. And then we say from 0 to 1, let's say. Is it still working? Let's see. It's still working, so I guess never mind then. But we don't have to have these attributes because attributes follows along in your flow, and variables, the way I write them here, they just live in the node that you're in. So that would be like this. Now, let's think about this. We need to fix the length. So we know we're gonna have to use an if. We know how to do that now. We also know that we need to remove point. Again, 0 pt num. And the problem is here, right? So we need to see. Let's see. Let's do a min and a max as well. Float min equal something. Float max equal minus 0.1. I don't know. And if you are px, y, if you are greater than max and pxy less than min, that's not the right way. So no, that's not what we want. Let's also look at this so we can see where we are. Let's see. So it goes further down, that's good. Let's say 3. And so I guess this would be the random. Yeah, so 0 to minus 0.3. Maybe we don't need a min. I thought I did. Random value. Okay. Oh, I didn't write it correctly and my mic is in the way. So now they have different length. Okay. Let's change this to even more, let's say like that. And what I want to do more is, yes, a point replica, which I also use all the time. Just to make it, we need to make it thicker, otherwise you're not going to see anything. So make it thicker like this. We don't need anything else fancy. What we now need to do is use a ray sop, ray point. So first the collision geometry that we want to have it collide to, which is going to be the base actually. So let's drag that one here. This would be this. And then the points, let's see. And in the ray sop, we pick minimum distance. As you can see, it kind of sticks to it. One thing that we need to do is also we need to give this a p-scale again. Otherwise, it's gonna. I think it's gonna default to 0 if you have two streams. One have like a p-scale or whatever value. It doesn't have to be p-scale, and then the other stream you haven't specified anything, and then you merge them. Then the one that doesn't have a value is gonna be 0. Can be something to remember. Just gonna say p-scale 15 and we want to have this one like so, and let's see. And then we have something, it's thick, so something like that maybe. And I don't need that one. We can also change this to have more or less. Maybe it's too, I feel like it's too thick. This is where you want to, play around with this. We could set a value here as well, like drips, maybe. We do a integer and say drips. Oops. Drips from range from 3 to 16. I'm just gonna save just in case. You never know. Come on, copy. And then we want to paste this in here. Paste relative reference. And now it has 7. And I want to have, let's say, 10. And they are all like kind of different. Which is okay. What else? Obviously, this can be refined perhaps, but I'm not going to bother. And if we just want to see it, another thing, by the way, before we even do that, let's just do a convert this back to polygons. VD convert. Put that in here and just say polygons, and there we have it. We have our drips and glaze. And there we go. And of course, you want to play with this. It's like Blender Guru when I did see his videos where I skimmed it. It collects further down. You have like, it should be thicker. But I'm not going to bother with that. That can be something that you could give a try. I'm not going to. Now, let's say that this is done. We are not done with VDBs though, because on the sprinkle part, I'm going to show you, let's just say out glaze. And we have this. I'm just going to copy this because this is the base. Like so. And object merge. drag this in here. Now we have these two guys. And well, let's create the sprinkles first. We want to sprinkle on this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use a normal. No, I'm going to use a group, not normal, but we are going to use the normals in the group. So now we have everything selected, right? So I'm just going to say like, okay, this is target. We're going to go on primitives, and I'm not going to do everything. Instead, we're going to pick the keep by normals. Going to do Y and not Z, and then we can lower this. So this is like how you would do. Oh yeah, we have an issue here, but that's fine. We can say like so. For example, this is where I want my sprinkles to be, but I don't want to have this. But we can fix this. Or can we do this? No, not like that. We can fix this anyway. Gonna have this, and then we are going to use scatter. Let's do scatter and say I want you to go to target like so. I'm gonna remove the no, let's relax it a little bit, but not too much, and say I don't know, 250. And as you can see here, we have stuff that we don't want. I'm just gonna like, again, that's probably a nice way to do this without having to do this shit, but just do an if remove point 0 pt num, love that function, pxy less than 0. Now it's gone. Now we want to add our whatever it's called. I'm gonna say sprinkles. We need to find something that looks like it. Geometry, primitive, and it's called tube. I'm gonna make this into a polygon. Let's make this nicer, not 320. We're gonna do the cap, and let's just, we need to like get the decent form here for this. Let's have some rows if we want to. Yeah, let's bend it. I hate the bend modifier. I hate the bend modifier in any program. It's always super confusing to get it working, but we want to create some what's it called? Poly bevel. So let's select the edges, and I don't know how to model, but I'm just shift double clicking. Now we have both of them. Tab, poly bevel. And now I'm just going to distance, just give it some roundness, like so. I think that's fine. And now let's I guess try the bevel or the bend, I mean. This is always fun. Okay, so fit capture N. That's the wrong one. Okay. We're bending on this. Okay. So I guess it kind of worked. But this is why I just do not like. It's let's have them like this. Okay, I'm not even gonna bother. I hate the bend. I'm gonna add a transform in and just scale it down, because it's of course way too big. What we also could do is like poly reduce or something like that. See if that works. Like that, make it a bit less. It's fine. Now, copy 2 points. We first have the geometry, and then we have the points. And of course, you know, it doesn't look good. Let's, is it the base? Yeah. Looks kind of funky. I think we can do an attribute randomize. Not here. I'm gonna say orient. Orient. 4 of them. And no. Looks kind of off. Rotate 90. Oh, I'm stupid. That's not actually what I want to see. I want to see this. Let's see. This is something that I'm just going to look at it. Let's see what I did. I hate this. Getting that to work. Oh, yeah, I said up. Of course. What did I say? Orient. There's something about orient as well, but up. But that didn't work well. Let's go again. Let's see. We have this. We don't have any. Oh, yeah. So I'm setting the up here as well. But I don't think that is needed. No, it's not needed. Up 3 points. Everything 1. Of course, it doesn't work. The constant values. Yes. Doesn't work. Do we need a normal? Probably we do. Normal. Say this, and now we have something that looks somewhat like it should. Probably not the most perfect one that you ever seen, but can we fix it? They are too even. Let's see. I'm gonna do like this. And then we're gonna say, I also if okay, let's do a rand pt num. If you are greater than 0.5, then just remove 0.0 pt num. I know you can add that in here. There's an or. Okay, that's like the standing up dashes. I just don't know how to write it in Windows, so I usually copy paste that from somewhere. I normally write on a Mac, and then when I do this, it's like on Windows, and I just don't know where to write it, what combination of keys I need to press. But let's say this is fine. Let's say it's somewhat okay. We then can, what can we do? We can say a null again. You just take these guys and say out sprinkles. Remove this. Object merge. Bring that in here, and let's see. Now we want to, okay, so let's do the sprinkles interacting with our glaze. So let's start off by converting these into polygons, or converting the polygons into VDB. Let's set this at like 2 maybe. Let's say that's fine, I think. So what we want to do now is do a combine. Gonna combine these two guys here. And I think we need to do a intersection and make this bigger. VD reshape. I barely use VDBs. Say that is okay, maybe. We're gonna do another combine VDB and say instead of interaction, we're gonna do a difference. Is it the other way around? Maybe, yeah. So we have something like that, and we're gonna need another one like so. I think looks all right. No, let's do a VDB combine on these two guys and set these to SDF union. Yeah, I think this is fine. And then a VDB smooth SDF. And here we want to dial this in a little bit. We don't have too much. I want a little bit. Maybe something like this. VDB convert VDB into polygons. Now we got that. We can also remove a bunch of unnecessary polygons, so it's easier to work with. So now we have, this is the actual glaze. Glaze. I'm gonna do an object merge. This is all over the place. Let's take this. This is the base. This is not the base. This is glaze. And these guys. And let's bring these into a merge. That's not what I wanted. I want merge. And there we have something. We have a little bit of a bulge, which we like. And we can say, you know, can add a color. This would be the glaze. I don't know what I had. Maybe something like this. That's not the color I used. Not that either. Give it a brownish color. And these would have like random color. I think we use a color attribute adjust color and say random. Do we need to set? We can make this into some points or a pact. And now we have colors and, you know, whatever, something like this. So this is basically what I did, and now you're just gonna have to play with the colors. I'm not gonna do any other rendering. I might do that in the next video, but in the next video I will show you how to use this in a RBD simulation, because you can't just put this into even if you optimized it, like started using like reduce poly, like what's it called, poly reduce on things and shit like that to make it more optimized. Like it's still like you can't, there are some stuff that needs to be done before you can put it into an RBD solver. I wonder what colors I used, because these ain't it. Let's see. Okay. But anyways, that is probably it for this video. Hopefully you learned something. Yeah. Bye bye.